Hello there and welcome along. The Gardener Ben here with your next rose review, and many of you will take a look at the little thumbnail for this particular video and go, this is what we've been waiting for this year. Finally, the Gardener Ben is going to review the rose that broke the internet this year. When in fact I'm not. Just going to prove that striped roses are absolutely nothing new. They've been around for quite some time, and this one is not even particularly old. The rose I'm going to be talking to you about today that looks very, very similar to a rose that broke the internet with a massive amount of hype this year. This particular rose is called Candyland and was bred and introduced in 2008, so not a massive amount of time ago. And it just so happens when I was planning on bringing you this particular review today, I thought, well, I wonder if I have a flower on the rose that broke the internet. So I went round to the trial garden and look, lo and behold, look what I came up with. This particular one is obviously the King's Rose, bred and introduced by David Austin Roses this year. Very similar to their other single roses in habit and growth form. Now, I've done my personal first impressions on the King's Rose, but won't be bringing you my full personal growing review on this one until I've had it for a full year here in the garden. So a little way ahead of just yet. The King's Rose so far performing very much as you would expect it to, much like Kew Gardens and Tottering by Gently, both again from David Austin Roses, very tall and upright. And I have a feeling this one, if it performs like Tottering by Gently and Kew Gardens, will come up quite a lot larger than David Austin's Roses think it will be, and you'll be able to climb this one to around 4 or 5 feet as an informal shrub, clabbing the sides of a rose arch. But going back to the star of today's show, this is Candyland, and if I bring the King's Rose close to the camera, you'll see a very, very loose semi-double flower, very flat and simple in its makeup. The colour on this one changing greatly as it does with Candyland, but Candyland is fully double, much more of a traditional style flower shape, much more texture and ruffles, the petals curling ever so slightly in around themselves and giving you that much more ruffled look. Candyland, as I say, bred and introduced in 2008, can be grown in two ways. You can either grow this as a informal shrub, maybe give it a little bit of support, something like a basic wigwam made of hazel sticks, or if you wanted to, an obelisk just to give it some support and a little bit of drama towards the very back of a border. If not, you can grow this one as a small climber where it's going to reach around 8 feet, and you can fan train it or train it onto a pillar post or maybe onto a fence panel or a wall. But Candyland flowering freely all the way through the summer months, from the beginning of June right through to the very back end of September. It has a medium to high thorn count, so don't be tempted to plant this one in high traffic areas, especially if you have small children or pets that like to get into your beds and borders, because the thorn count on this one is fairly substantial. Thorns are contained in all parts of the growth, but flowering freely all the way through June, July, August and into September with these fairly large flowers. Now let's cut this one and bring this right in close to the camera for you. Might need to change my camera angle so you can see me as I bring this one to you a little bit. You can see very, very nicely textured blooms measuring around 2.5 to 3 inches in diameter. Once again, like the King's Rose, which again I'll bring for comparison. You know, this one almost looks startled in comparison. You'll see the much more detailed and sort of texture in this one. If you're looking for something a little more sort of traditional in its style, this one much more simple. But you can see also splattered with sort of cream and white. The cream in this one much more of a buttercream yellow, almost a sherbet yellow, and this sort of half and half look with the flowers, some getting a little bit more smattering than others. A nice candy pink, as you'd expect from its name, Candyland, and about 4 or 5 rows of petals giving it lots and lots of texture. And then right in the very center of the flower there, that lovely golden collection of bright golden stamens resonating in the very center. So a really nice looking plant. This particular flower also got great foliage. Let's pick this off. You can see I'm struggling with the thorns on this one. There are numerous. They're well barbed, white backwards and very, very sharp indeed. So I'm handling this one with the utmost care. Foliage wise, very, very high gloss sheen, quite leathery and coarse to the touch. Watch the barbs on Candyland. They are numerous, and as you can see, laced along the back of the leaf axil, even so far as there are small barbs on the larger leaflets as well. I haven't seen that for quite some time. You can see there's one there. They're not particularly bad, but they are the kind of thing, especially if you're slightly older than me and your skin is starting to get a little bit delicate, you'll find that Candyland may actually catch you. So make sure you wear gloves when you're handling this one. Bud wise, even so have we got a bud on this one? Yes, we have. You can see that smattering and texture moving through the bud and flower, that lovely yellow and coral pink marbled through the bud. And even if I bring that side profile, just notice on this one you can see those flecks right in the center of the bud, well before it opens. It has good disease resistance, so I have the pleasure in awarding Candyland a 7 out of 10 for disease resistance. Fragrance wise, there's not a great deal on it. It smells of pollen, it smells of honey, which is very nice. It's sweet and fairly light. As you can see from the growing conditions today, it's fairly overcast, fairly mild. It's temperatures in the sort of late teens, early 20s. So not a huge amount of heat, but I'm not getting a huge amount of fragrance off of Candyland. So I'm going to be registering this one with a 3 out of 10 for fragrance rating. But just wanted to bring you the comparison between the rose, say, that broke the internet this year from David Austin, the King's Rose, and Candyland, launched in 2008. Very similar, but quite different in their makeup as well. This one available from Peterbilt's Roses, and I say you can grow this one as a informal shrub, give it a little bit of support in the form of an obelisk or a pillar or a post, or if you wanted to, you can grow Candyland as a fairly substantial climber where it's going to reach around 8 to 10 feet. But a really nice and very traditional style rose, maybe for blending colors together in the garden. Maybe you plant a lot of pink, maybe you plant a lot of yellow, maybe you plant a lot of red, but this kind of color, when you have the smattering of colors that's Candyland has, blends those colors together. A nice transitional plant taking you through different colors in the garden, but a really very nice one. Lots of texture, lots of form on that, lacking a little bit in the fragrance department. But today's rose, which is available from Peterbilt's Roses, is Candyland.